statements about me are totally false, that I was suffering after recent reconstructive surgery on my scalp.
That's the most ridiculous, horrifying story I've ever heard.
Michael Jackson's hidden resting place has been the subject of wild conspiracies for years. But what if an underwater drone has finally uncovered the shocking truth?
One of our other big stories, the King of Pop has died.
Could the King of Pop's final secret be exposed at last, or is it just another elaborate mystery? The truth behind Michael Jackson's hidden resting place. Michael Jackson's death in 2009 sent shockwaves around the world, but what happened afterwards left even more people stunned. Despite being laid to rest at the famous Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles, rumors about his final resting place have swirled for years. The King of Pop, as his fans called him, was entombed in the Holly Terrace of the Great Mausoleum, a location often reserved for Hollywood elites. But the public wasn't invited. Only family and close friends attended, fueling conspiracy theories from day one. Many believe that his burial was just a distraction. The sheer secrecy surrounding the funeral made people question, was Michael really inside the crypt? His gold-plated casket became the center of a debate. Some suggested it was empty, sparking the first of many controversies. Photos of his burial were never released, and the family remained tight-lipped about the entire ceremony. This lack of transparency gave rise to the belief that Jackson's body wasn't even at Forest Lawn.
The Michael Jackson connection came about because he actually sought me out and wanted to learn meditation. And I used to come frequently to Los Angeles to teach meditation. And slowly that started to include people like Elizabeth Taylor, even Marlon Brando, and many, many other people. And I discovered that actually celebrities have the most insecurity than anybody else because they're kind of identified with their last success.
What's even more intriguing is that many fans and conspiracy theorists point out that Michael's longtime spiritual advisor, Deepak Chopra, allegedly warned him that he might face danger in the months leading up to his death. Chopra later claimed that Jackson expressed deep fears about his safety. Combine this with the secrecy of his funeral, and you have the perfect breeding ground for rumors. Could his own family be hiding the truth about where he really rests? The idea that Michael Jackson's resting place could be hidden is not just limited to these rumors. Multiple reports from anonymous sources have claimed, without any solid evidence, that Jackson's body was moved shortly after the private funeral. One rumor suggests that Jackson was buried at his Neverland Ranch, where he spent much of his later years. This theory gained traction when a private security team was allegedly spotted entering the premises just days after the funeral. Was this simply for routine checks, or was something more sinister happening behind the scenes? In 2010, a former bodyguard, Matt Fiddies, stirred the pot further when he alleged that Jackson's body may have been placed somewhere entirely off the grid. According to Fiddies, Jackson had an escape plan in place if things ever went sideways. Though Fiddies never provided any real proof, his claims reignited the rumors, with many speculating that Jackson may not have been buried at all. But it doesn't stop there. Some say that Michael Jackson's final wishes were never truly honored. A close family friend who requested anonymity suggested that Michael wanted to be laid to rest in a location that was both private and meaningful to him. While this claim remains unverified, it does add another layer of intrigue to the already complex mystery. If this were true, could his family have ignored his final request to avoid unwanted attention? The final twist in this tangled web of speculation comes from fans who visited Forest Lawn Memorial Park. Some claim that despite what's officially reported, there are no signs of regular visits by the Jackson family at his mausoleum. On the other hand, some insiders insist that they often visit under strict secrecy. The mystery grows with each year, and fans are left wondering if they'll ever know the real truth behind Michael Jackson's burial. Could the truth behind Michael Jackson's resting place finally be revealed, or will it remain one of Hollywood's greatest mysteries? If drones were to investigate this heavily guarded mausoleum, what might they actually find? Shocking conspiracies after Jackson's death exposed. The moment Michael Jackson passed away, the conspiracy mill began churning, and it hasn't stopped since. The official cause of death was ruled as acute propofol intoxication, a powerful sedative administered by his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray. But to some fans, the story was far from over. Almost immediately, whispers of foul play began circulating. The idea that Jackson could have been the victim of a murder plot seemed outrageous to most, but for those familiar with his life, it wasn't entirely unbelievable. Many believe Jackson was caught in a web of powerful figures who wanted to control his finances. It's no secret that despite his fame, Michael struggled with financial difficulties in his later years, and some allege that key people in his inner circle were manipulating him. There were claims that certain unnamed individuals were conspiring to gain access to his vast music catalog, which includes the rights to his own work and, famously, the Beatles' songs. Was Michael Jackson's death a tragic accident or part of a calculated move to claim ownership over these valuable assets?
Dr. Conrad Murray spent 2 years in jail for the involuntary manslaughter of Michael Jackson, and now he's breaking his silence.
Dr. Conrad Murray became a central figure in the conspiracy theories. While he was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in 2011, some claim he was merely a scapegoat in a larger, more sinister scheme. One of the most persistent allegations is that the higher-ups in the music industry wanted Jackson out of the way. His financial power and influence over his music catalog were seen as a threat to certain entities. And with Jackson's enormous debt, the stakes were high. Could his untimely death have been the perfect opportunity for someone else to swoop in and seize control of his assets? These theories, although lacking substantial evidence, continued to captivate die-hard fans who refused to accept the official narrative. A particularly bizarre rumor that surfaced in 2011 claimed that Michael Jackson had faked his own death. Some alleged that Jackson, who had grown increasingly paranoid in his final years, orchestrated his disappearance to escape the pressures of fame, debt, and media scrutiny. Photos of a mysterious figure resembling Jackson boarding a private plane just days after his death went viral, adding fuel to the fire. The claim was never proven, and experts dismissed the images as doctored. But that didn't stop fans from dissecting every frame, hunting for clues that their idol was still alive. Further adding to the intrigue was the release of audio recordings between Jackson and his friend Dieter Wiesner, in which Jackson voiced fears about people trying to kill him. Wiesner later stated in the interviews that Jackson had become obsessed with the idea of a plot against him, adding legitimacy to the growing suspicions. Even members of Jackson's family, including his sister LaToya Jackson, went on record saying they believed foul play was involved in his death. She famously stated, "I know who did it," but never elaborated further. To this day, LaToya's comments fuel speculation about whether she has inside knowledge or if her remarks were simply another piece of the Jackson family's complex relationship with the media. While these claims are largely based on speculation, the fact that multiple people in Jackson's inner circle voice concern about his safety adds another dimension to the conspiracy theories. Even if Michael Jackson wasn't the victim of a grand conspiracy, the secrets that surrounded his life and death certainly make it easy to believe that something more may have been at play. With all of these lingering questions, you can't help but wonder, were these conspiracies just wild fan fantasies, or could they hold a grain of truth? What else could be hiding beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? How drones uncover celebrity secrets you won't believe. As if the conspiracies surrounding Jackson's death weren't enough, the advancement of technology has added a whole new layer to the mystery. In recent years, Drones have been used in everything from security surveillance to personal projects, and in some cases, they've been employed to uncover hidden secrets about celebrities. When it comes to high-profile figures like Michael Jackson, even the slightest rumor of a secret location is enough to send amateur investigators into a frenzy. One of the most outlandish theories involving Michael Jackson's disappearance after his death suggests that drones were used to survey his infamous Neverland Ranch. While no substantial findings have emerged, there are countless online forums and YouTube channels where fans analyze drone footage, convinced that they'll find something no one else has. Many claim to have spotted movements on the estate that they believe could only be Jackson himself, hiding out in plain sight. These theories have sparked debates over the ethics of using technology to invade someone's privacy, even in death. Even more bizarre are the theories that drones could potentially be used to investigate Jackson's mausoleum at Forest Lawn. While access to the Great Mausoleum is heavily restricted and no unauthorized drone has ever been confirmed to enter, that hasn't stopped fans from speculating about what could be revealed if one were to sneak past security. Could a drone finally prove whether or not Michael Jackson's body is really inside the tomb? And if it isn't, where could his remains actually be? This type of speculation isn't unique to Jackson. Drones have been used to investigate the estates of other celebrities, often leading to shocking revelations. In one well-known case, a drone exposed the hidden construction of a massive underground bunker beneath the home of a Hollywood A-lister. The footage caused a media frenzy, proving that drones have the potential to unveil celebrity secrets that were once thought to be untouchable. As technology becomes more advanced, the possibilities are endless. Could a drone one day uncover the final truth about Michael Jackson's resting place, or will his secrets remain just out of reach? The fascination with using drones to discover hidden information isn't just limited to Jackson's legacy. Over the years, drones have been employed to capture unauthorized footage of celebrity weddings, private vacations, and even homes. Some of the most shocking footage involved famous figures like George Clooney, who reportedly had drone surveillance at his Italian villa, and Beyoncé, whose private wedding footage was leaked through drone recordings. In some cases, these drones were used by professional paparazzi, but more often than not, they were flown by determined fans with a passion for uncovering celebrity mysteries. So what exactly is it about celebrities like Michael Jackson that keeps fans so obsessed with finding hidden truths? Why do we care so much about uncovering these private details? Perhaps it's the idea that someone so famous, someone with so much influence, could be hiding something bigger than we ever imagined. Or maybe it's the simple thrill of the hunt, the hope that one day we'll finally get the answers to all the questions that have been circling for years. Media lies that built Michael Jackson's ultimate mystery. From the moment Michael Jackson became a global superstar, the media's obsession with him skyrocketed, and with that, the spread of misinformation and lies followed him throughout his entire life. But after his death, the media frenzy intensified, and the narrative around his final days became one of the most manipulated stories in modern pop culture. While Jackson had spent much of his career under the microscope, facing both adoration and scandal, the media took the opportunity of his death to weave an even more tangled web of mystery, largely built on exaggerations, unverified claims, and outright lies. One of the biggest falsehoods to emerge immediately after Jackson's death was the nature of his passing. The media quickly jumped on any piece of information, no matter how flimsy, to drive headlines. In the first 24 hours, news outlets reported everything from drug overdoses to heart attacks, fueling the fire of speculation. While the official cause of death, acute propofol intoxication, wasn't revealed for weeks, the media had already begun shaping an alternative version of events. Several tabloid outlets, including The Sun and the National Enquirer, claimed Jackson had been secretly battling a terminal illness for years, despite no medical evidence to support these claims. These sensationalized stories led many fans to question whether the truth about his health was being covered up, planting seeds of doubt that persist to this day. But it wasn't just his death that the media lied about, it was his entire persona. Throughout the years, various outlets, including some respected publications, repeatedly painted Michael Jackson as a reclusive, strange figure, often exaggerating his eccentricities to the point of absurdity. Stories about him sleeping in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, attempting to buy the remains of the Elephant Man, and living in self-imposed isolation from the world were just a few of the sensational headlines that came out. While some of these stories had small grains of truth to them, such as Jackson's fascination with unique medical technologies, the media took these stories and blew them out of proportion. As a result, the public's perception of Jackson was often more myth than reality. One of the most damaging aspects of media manipulation following Jackson's death was the way his finances were portrayed. Almost immediately, reports surfaced claiming that Jackson had died with nearly $500 million in debt, leaving his estate in shambles. While it's true that Jackson had significant financial troubles during his life, the idea that he died broke was a complete exaggeration. In fact, by the time of his passing, Jackson's estate was already well on its way to recovery, thanks to his lucrative music catalog, including his ownership of the Beatles' songs and various business deals in place. However, these facts were often overlooked in favor of more sensationalized headlines about his crumbling empire. The media also played a huge role in stoking conspiracy theories about Jackson's death, particularly the idea that he had been murdered. While Dr. Conrad Murray was ultimately found responsible for his death due to negligence, certain outlets pushed the narrative that larger, more shadowy forces were at play. This was often driven by Jackson's own family, particularly his sister LaToya, who famously claimed in interviews that Michael was murdered. The media ran with these statements, giving credibility to the conspiracy theories without delving into any factual evidence. This left the public divided. Some accepted the official cause of death, while others remained convinced there was more to the story. What's even more frustrating is how the media continuously failed to correct misinformation, even when the truth came to light. For instance, when Jackson's autopsy was completed, the report debunked many of the lies about his health, including rumors that he weighed less than 100 pounds and was riddled with scars and surgical wounds. In reality, the autopsy revealed that while Jackson was thinner than average, his weight was within a healthy range for his height, and his surgical scars were far fewer than the media had led people to believe. Yet, these facts received little coverage compared to the more salacious stories. The media's role in building and sustaining the mystery around Michael Jackson's death can't be overstated. By spreading false information and sensationalized narratives, they turned Jackson's life and death into a story that was larger than life. Even years later, the lies continue to circulate, overshadowing the truth about one of the most iconic figures in music history. Could the media's distortions be one of the reasons the world still can't accept Michael's death? What other secrets have the media kept hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Could there be more behind the headlines than we'll ever know? Why the world refuses to let Michael Jackson rest? Michael Jackson was more than just a pop star. He was a cultural icon whose influence stretched across music, fashion, dance, and humanitarian efforts. But with this level of fame comes an equally intense level of scrutiny, and in Jackson's case, the world has refused to let him rest, even in death. From persistent rumors to endless conspiracy theories, the fascination with Michael Jackson seems never-ending. But why is it that, even 15 years after his death, the world just can't let go? One of the primary reasons is that Michael Jackson represents a level of stardom that we haven't seen since, and may never see again. His influence on pop culture is immeasurable. His groundbreaking music videos, such as Thriller and Billie Jean, set the standard for what the art form could be. His dance moves, from the moonwalk to his iconic spins, remain instantly recognizable. His charity work, including raising millions for causes like HIV/AIDS research and children's hospitals, showcased a side of Jackson that many forget amidst the controversies. With such an extraordinary life, it's no wonder that fans around the world find it hard to accept his death as the end of his story. But the mystery surrounding his passing, fueled by the media, conspiracy theories, and even Jackson's own behavior in his final years, has left the world searching for answers. The idea that Jackson could still be alive, living in secret, has persisted for over a decade, despite all evidence to the contrary. Videos purporting to show Jackson alive in various locations continue to surface online, with fans dissecting each frame in search of proof. The desire to believe that Jackson might have faked his death speaks to a broader unwillingness to accept the reality of mortality, especially for someone who seemed larger than life. Another reason why people refuse to let Jackson rest is the ongoing controversies surrounding his life, particularly the allegations of child abuse that haunted him for years. While Jackson was acquitted of all charges in a highly publicized trial in 2005, the accusations have continued to cast a shadow over his legacy. Documentaries like Leaving Neverland have reignited the debate over whether Jackson was guilty, dividing fans and critics alike. For some, Jackson's death did not bring closure. It simply left more questions unanswered. Could this unresolved controversy be another reason why people remain fixated on Jackson, even in death? Jackson's family has also played a role in keeping his memory alive, often publicly questioning the circumstances of his death and pushing back against negative portrayals of the singer. His children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, have all spoken out about the media's treatment of their father and their own efforts to preserve his legacy. Paris Jackson, in particular, has been vocal about the toll her father's death has taken on her mental health, highlighting the personal cost of the public's obsession with Michael. Yet, despite these efforts, the world's interest in Jackson continues to focus on the more sensational aspects of his life, rather than the man himself. Perhaps one of the most telling reasons why the world won't let Michael Jackson rest is the sheer amount of money his estate continues to generate. In the years since his passing, Jackson has consistently ranked among the top-earning deceased celebrities, with his estate raking in hundreds of millions from music sales, royalties, and business ventures. His posthumous success has only fueled the idea that Michael Jackson is still very much alive in the cultural consciousness, even if his physical presence is gone. Do you think the truth about Michael Jackson's final resting place will ever be revealed, or is it destined to remain a mystery? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed uncovering these secrets with us, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more. Until next time.